Our first night is to be spent at the Radisson Hotel. Our hotel is located just off the top edge of the map, above the Royal Regalia Museum. The Sultan Omar Mosque, built on the lagoon, is just 15 minutes walk away. This magnificent painting is in the entrance foyer. This is a view of the swimming pool and barbecue area, where we were entertained by the chef and the tea juggling man. We enjoyed his antics with the two billy cans full of hot tea, which he cooled down in the process of doing this juggling act. We got up early the next morning and made our way to the Sultan Omar Mosque. It was probably just as well, because our tour didn't include this, although we did see it as we passed on the bus. This is the smaller mosque, but that's the one that the Sultan uses himself. While we were in the country, the Sultan announced Brunei will gradually move to enact a criminal code based on Sharia law, including amputation as a punishment for theft and stoning to death for adultery and same-sex activity. And these are the gates to the Sultan's palace, claimed to be the largest in the world. I elected to print a title here rather than try and pronounce the name of this mosque. We were not allowed to take photos inside the mosque and had to remove our shoes, and the ladies had to don a robe to enter the men's praying area, which can accommodate up to 3,000. There is a smaller area for women which can take 1,000. As we came out, we came across this enormous butterfly. It was good hand span anyway, so looking about 700-800 millimeters across. Because of our early departure now, we had to cram an awful lot in the next couple of hours. So it's off to the water village. Now, according to ancient documents and records, Kampong Yai was formed 1,300 years ago. Small settlements were then scattered on Borneo Island, but people were afraid of predators on the land, so they began building houses over the water. Later, as the Sultanate of Brunei flourished, the village grew larger and larger. In fact, some of these buildings are actually higher than the ground level of the capital downtown area, which is only 3 feet above the high water mark. Now, the houses in the village are connected by a series of raised wooden walkways called jambatan. There are a total of 36 kilometers of these wooden walkways. The long low building in the background there is a high school, and this one facing it is a primary school. In Brunei, education is free, and so are the textbooks. We also see the fire station, which has fire tenders on boats, of course, and fire engines on the land side. I couldn't help but suspect that this rooster was really a fighting cock. We had a quick lunch and then had to dash off to the airport to wait for our flight to Saba. So here we are, day 3 in Saba. This morning is free, so we hire a taxi for a couple of hours to take us to the Saba Museum. I started by making notes for the recording of the history of Saba, but found it just too complicated to record, as the Sultan of Sulu ceded Saba to the East India Company, then to the Americans, to a Baron van Overbergen of the Austro-Hungarian consul, and finally to an Alfred Dent, a London businessman who managed to get involved in it somehow. And then it became a British protectorate in 1878, at which point I decided to move on. Local craft. The museum is set out as a village, with a range of huts identifying the various cultural groups. Most of the buildings are on stilts and have a bamboo floor, which allows the breeze travelling across the water to enter and cool the building. This is a Chinese farmhouse. The exception was the Chinese home. This is the family room, and it has a kitchen with a brick oven and stove. The coconut oil press is powered by an oxen that rotates the crushing wheel. The oil runs out of the small hole on the side. The sugarcane crusher operates the same way, with the two revolving rollers squeezing the cane that is fed between them. This is a longhouse, which appears to be used as a meeting place and for entertainment. The recessed floor area is a type of trampoline, which will be demonstrated at another time. The museum houses one of the original North Borneo railway trains. There are also a range of early photographs. For anybody wishing to get more information on this, you can pause the video at this point. But tomorrow we're actually going to ride on one of the trains and have a tiffin lunch. These are the first rice paddies we've seen while we've been travelling around, and we're down at the river to take a boat trip and look for the monkeys. You have to give us credit for our immaculate timing. The inevitable tropical downpours have been avoided so far, so it's lunch for now, and then a ride to see the local wildlife. The ramp down to the boats is quite steep, but what we didn't realise was that the tide was going out. As poor Lachlan on his crutches was to find out later.
Dies from this tree. That's why you look at the tree, all the leaf is gone.
Now this is some kind of kingfisher who decided to give us a demonstration.
They have a slender neck. They can dive in for about 10 seconds to spear the fish. Yeah?
Showing off. Where's he going?
They are snake birds. They love to dive. Yeah, see where they're coming out.
Well, he hasn't come out yet.
They can dive for about 10 to 15 seconds.
Where is he?
Oh,
Yeah, you can see all the little fish jumping.
Wasn't these fruit on the...
This is the female.
it's no good taking a photo of it. You'd need to tell me that.
That's to say the alpha male should be just nearby. Yeah. Do not put your hand outside. Yeah.
And here we are looking for a colony of proboscis monkeys.
Anyway, you're so busy taking a photo, you don't look at what the thing is.
That's what I found when I went to East Africa.
Well, I found that too. I'd rather say something.
Yeah, and then... Oh, yeah, look at them. Obviously, that's... Well, they don't feel straight. Oh, well done. Female. Oh, look at them.
Those are female ones.
What are they called? A family, are they?
Yes, this is
Yes.
Return to the boat ramp for our afternoon tea and to wait for the sun to set. Only then can we go out to see the fireflies. Unfortunately, I couldn't capture the little sparkles on the video. Opposite our hotel is a craft market, and to the right of that is the central market. Behind this is the wet market, which is referred to as Safmar, S-A-F-M-A-R on the maps, which really means fish market. The best time to visit these markets is early in the morning, when the produce is arriving fresh. I got down there about 7 o'clock. I was the only tourist around. The locals are a friendly lot. Some of them are happy to try out their English on you. There's quite a range of dried produce, as not everybody enjoys the luxury of refrigeration. The man in the green shirt asked me what I thought of his country, the good and the bad things he wanted to know. So we had a short discussion. He finished by telling me his nephew was working in Australia and earning good money. You can be glad this video doesn't have smell-o-vision, as although the fish they sell is fresh, the lingering odour of yesterday's catch still abounds. This fish looks like a Spanish mackerel, but it's probably the pike we're going to have tomorrow night. As you can see, these are small sharks. I couldn't help but question the age of some of these boys working around the market. These two young lads insisted that I film them lifting the fish onto the trolleys. Some of the fishermen live on their boats, sleeping in a hammock, relaxing or gambling to while away the time before their next trip.
No winners.
There's even a mosque here on the wharf for their daily prayers. The fit out of our bus is definitely in keeping with our next adventure. We are met at Tanjung Aru station by our cabin stewards, dressed in the traditional 1920s costume, complete with pith helmets. Each passenger is given a passport that gives a brief history of the 5 villages we are to pass en route.
Sort of better take a few shots before it starts moving.
The North Borneo Railway features the British Falcon steam locomotive. The engine is designed for wood burning, a costly yet more environmental form of steam. Stepping into the engine is an opportunity to jump back into the shoes of a child, bringing back childhood dreams of pulling on the whistle as the massive train rolls through the countryside. The train also features 5 Japanese-designed carriages that have been meticulously restored and renovated to reflect the era of the steam train. Although the carriages were built in the 1970s, both the exterior and interior provide an environment that is typical of stepping onto a train in the 1900s. The exterior utilises the traditional deep green and cream of the original North Borneo Railway. The interior, highlighting the natural woods of Saba, has cosy seating and dining facilities. The North Borneo Railway was established on the 1st of August 1914, and things began to pick up in 1924. However, victory didn't last long, for in 1930 the Great Depression spread through the world that caused adverse effects to trade. Hardly had the world recovered from this when the Second World War started in 1939.
Our first stop is the traditional trading village, Kinarut. A Buddhist temple stands near the station. Alvin, our guide, demonstrates how he can give a prayer and make a wish. The idea is to shake the container until a single spell falls out and drops on the floor. You'll notice Hanif is very interested in this. I think she's got an idea of making a wish or two. Now the idea is to shake a single spell out of the tube, drop the tokens on the floor, and if they fall the right way, your wish is granted. Now just watch this. Here's a woman with a purpose. Well done, Hanif. There it is. Now let's see what the next stage is. Oh dear, they fell the wrong way. Better try again. If you can't win the first time, extend the odds. Half a dozen. You should get one out of those, surely. So it's back to the train and off to our next stop.
On the 1st of January 1944, the Japanese 37th Army under Lieutenant General Saba occupied North Borneo. The war and the Japanese occupation almost paralysed the whole railway system between 1944 and 1945 due to the damages to the rails, bridges and locomotives. During the post-war period, North Borneo became a Crown colony. A programme of reconstruction and rehabilitation was planned and implemented between 1949 and 1960. After Malaysia was formed in 1963, the railway service was managed by the Saba State Railway Department. By 1971, technological advancement in the form of diesel and petrol-powered locomotives replaced the steam engine. On the 22nd of January 2000, the North Borneo Railway was relaunched as a joint venture project between Sutera Harbour Resort and the Saba State Railway Department. Today the railway leaves a legacy far greater than the English adventurers and planters could have ever imagined. The track plies virtually through villages and small settlements where time seems to be at a standstill.
For many, the swimming pool and barbecue area on the second floor are a perfect place to relax. The night market, which is just below our bedroom window, looks like an Aladdin's cave at night. This evening we are taken to the Kampung Nelayan floating seafood restaurant for what proved to be another delightful meal. We are told there's going to be a multicultural show and members of our party will be welcome to participate. Now guess who'll be the first? Our luck continues to hold out as far as the weather's concerned. Out. This morning we are to visit Mount Kinabalu Park, which has been recognised as a World Heritage Site. Now, if anyone ever asked me what job would I like to do the most, it would have to be as a committee member of the World Heritage Sites.
But because it's dead, yeah, so we...
Around 2,000 Australian and British prisoners were sent to Sandakan in 1942 to build an airstrip. By late 1944, with Allied forces advancing towards Borneo, the Japanese decided to send the Australian and British prisoners westward to Renault. This would be a march of about 260 kilometres along jungle tracks into Borneo's interior. Trying to survive with only 4 days' rations, rice, some dried fish and salt, and burdened with Japanese equipment, sacks of rice, ammunition and other items, the men struggled through swamp, jungle and mountain forest. Those too weak to continue were shot or beaten to death. They ate what they could find in the jungle, snails and tree ferns, with the Japanese guards beating them with their rifle butts to urge them on. Those who couldn't walk any further were shot, bayoneted, or in some cases beheaded. Only 183 reached Renault 26 days later. On the 28th of July, 4 Australians managed to escape, leaving about 40 POWs still alive at Renault. Evidence suggests that these last survivors were executed on the 27th of August 1945, 12 days after the official Japanese surrender. Only 5 Australian and 1 British soldier survived the Sandakan death marches.
A poem by Nelson Short. I'm dreaming of Australia, the land we left behind, dreaming of the loved ones we could always bear in mind. Although it's only fancy, our hearts within us yearn, but we'll make up for lost moments when to Aussie we return. They'd be sailing on the harbour, the showboat our first choice, or maybe we'd be dancing, listening to our sweetheart's voice. Although it's only fancy, our hearts within us yearn. Gee, we'll make up for lost moments when to Aussie we return. This morning we visit the Maori Maori Cultural Village. After our arrival, we cross over the hanging bridge to arrive at the entrance to the village, where we will be ushered to the warmth of different homes of the ethnicities of Saba.
As you can see, this house is... This rice line is what we call the tapai. Tapai.
Tapai?
Yes, tapai. And for the tapai here, to make this rice, does anybody know what this is? Just take a guess.
Moss?
Something for fermentation.
To make the drink taste sweet. The third ingredient here is rice, and the last one is water. What they need to do first, they will put the rice inside the water and leave it for one night. Okay? After they leave it for one night, it will be soft. Okay? They will pound it over here, and then they will make this one. There you go. You can touch it. And here for the kitchen area, you can see over here. This is how they make their own cooking place. Okay? Like I said, with the leftover food, and then use the smoke to make the food last longer. So, they are cooking the bamboo cooking. This bamboo cooking would take about...
Yeah, try. You can proceed with the bath.
Australia, we call that roadkill. When you,
It's here, play their fingers here. By the way, they will cover some holes here to make the... Thank you.
Probably make
The longhouse. Sleeping quarters.
It's where they will put a bamboo shaving. You can see some of the bamboo shaving over here. Okay? You can see the bamboo over here. They shave the skin and then the friction and then get the spark first. After that, you will start the fire. So right now, I let him show us how they start fire using only bamboo.
Dia punya macam sedap telur ah. Ada sudah iya. Ini coba saya nampak sabi orang tidak.
Look at the smoke and fire.
And you can see some spark inside right now.
Yep, there it is.
Okay, after they get the spark, they will take out.
Careful. Okay, so it's nothing much.
Where the warriors will watch for water on it. After they get the hard layer soft, they will scrap out all the hard layer using sharp bamboo. And when they are done scrapping out the hard layer, they will dry it. That is what they use to make their own vest. You can see the example of the vest over here. Because it has hard skin.
You can absorb the impact, yeah.
That's it.
You know, in those days, you read
Good.
Japanese occupation. Just now, yeah.
Yes, over here for the cookies, to fry the cookies. They make the cookies here. You can see the ingredients. Inside water for about 7 to 10 minutes without. You can have a look.
In those days, Murut people, they don't like stranger. Whoever come in, they will kill with no mercy. It is also a blessing from the shaman,
you go.
because even we bring tourists, we also need the bless from the shaman, yeah. That is the culture. They are Murut, but
To make a blowpipe, the young bamboo pole is lashed to the structure and the operator stands on the platform so he can drive a hot metal, or in the past, hardwood, rod down through the centre of the bamboo core. To make a blowpipe, the young bamboo pole is lashed to the structure and the operator stands on the platform so he can drive a hot metal, or in the past, hardwood, rod down through the centre of the bamboo core.
it's also a blessing, yeah. The Christian way. Any danger, yeah. The problem for them.
Sundays, yeah, Malaysian Sunday.
So heading north, so they can.
Look, he's right there.
The Saturday morning of our last day is allocated as free time, but as so many of the party had expected to see the orangutans, we were offered an excursion to the wildlife park, where we managed to see a few of the native animals.
Some of the good. The family group over here. So this is the old male group. So it has to be to take experience, yeah? I think it looks good. After about half a year to 9 months, and then the baby, the offspring, return to you were monkey. As for the male is fine. They have a very long, yeah? Separated, so they are not even in Kalimantan, only in Saba, yeah? They are more, it can be dangerous, so we try to orangutan in most cases. Yes, they are the main predator for orangutan.
It looks like it's hot as well.
Yeah.
Hoop, so what Blaze is going to do is he's going to fly through the hoop, yeah? Very good. Okay, so next is going to... Very good. Okay, now, alright, thank you very much, Blaze. Let's give him a nice round of applause for that fantastic demonstration. Now, as you guys can see, the park over here shows the blue colored pouch. Nice one, a papaya. Right, we're going to try the ulam sawa batik. Now, the reticulated python can grow to about 10 meters. Hey, Michael. Okay, put the stick very gently on him. Alright, very good. Alright, you guys ready for the best? Ready? 1, 2, 3, and go! Back on for that. How about you get it? Where the Paco supporters? The Chalo supporters. How about you get this, Paco? Become the second ball over there. Alright, take this one, put it in, and it's in there! Paco supporters, we win! Yeah! Alright, and last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, we still have one more friend I would like everybody to... Now you guys can see orangutans, they're perfect bodies for life up in the trees. They're very long arms, long fingers, and toes as well. Having a long thumb will only get in the way, which is why his thumbs are very small. One is the Borneo orangutan and the other is the Sumatra orangutan. You can tell them apart very easily by just looking at their fur color. Like both the Borneo orangutans have a darker fur coat, while the Sumatran cousin is much lighter, more yellowish. Demanding for some applause, yeah guys. Now here at the park we'll provide our orangutans with a large variety of food. For example, Mowgli gets different fruits like bananas, papaya, apples, grapes, and also a lot of local...
Summing up, I can confidently say that despite a few minor hiccups, our guides, driver, hotel staff could not have been more helpful. We had a thoroughly enjoyable time. We have been lucky with the weather, and to crown it all off, we even flew in a brand new Boeing 787 Dreamliner.